So the last ones I wanted to talk to you about were these kinds of ones that are in this particular form. And this is a form that's probably worth like recognizing what it looks like. And the form that I'm really talking about, I'm not too bothered about this A that comes outside the front here, because A is just a number it's going to multiply by. I'm really bothered by this P plus Q cos theta. And so if we require that R is greater than or equal to theta, then the curve is defined for all theta if P is greater than or equal to Q. Why is that? Why if P is greater than or equal to Q, would this be defined for all values of theta? Let's have a think about this part, cos theta. Tell me about cos theta. What's the smallest thing it can be? Minus 1. So we know that cos theta is always going to be greater than minus 1. So Q cos theta is always going to be greater than minus Q. And so if it is P plus Q cos theta is always going to be greater than P minus Q. So if this thing, if P minus Q is always greater than or equal to 0, in other words, if P is greater than or equal to Q, then cos theta, that whole expression will always be positive. And it's thinking about that second bit that you've got there. Basically, the smallest thing this can be is minus Q. If P is bigger than Q, then the overall thing will be positive. And if the overall thing is positive, then we can draw it for the whole graph that is there. If P was less than Q, then there's going to be some times where R could be negative. Again, this isn't something that I think is like so directly in the spec that they would ask you this kind of thing. This is like background knowledge that will help you to try and understand like what's happening in this. This is the weird thing about exercise 5B, is I think it's just about trying to deepen understanding, but really most of it can just be sort of drawn on graphs and stuff. So there's 3 different things that can happen here, and we do actually investigate these later on when we do some calculus with this. But if P is equal to Q, we get a cardioid where the curve reaches the origin when theta is equal to pi. So this is when theta is equal to pi, and this is when it's 0, because the cos of 0 is 1, so it's just going to go all the way up to a plus pq, which is over here. But if theta was equal to pi, you would have p plus minus q, but because p and q are equal to each other, you would get 0, and it would go back to the origin. Now, we actually came across this cardioid example before, and I'm just going to remind us of that on a few slides, because the cardioid example that we saw here was r equals a brackets 1 plus cos theta. So what's the value of p and q here? P is 1, and q is also 1. And we've seen that example. When p and q were equal to each other, we ended up with that cardioid, which is this case that we've got here. So the example for this could be r equals 1 plus cos theta, or that whole thing bracketed as well. Then the second case is that p is greater than or equal to 2q. If you have that case, you get an egg or an oval shape. This is like kind of like, it looks like a circle, but it's actually not quite a circle, this one. It's actually got like a slightly warped like egg shape. It's not an ellipse, which is like a circle that has been squashed at the top and bottom. It's like an egg that is on its side, where it's really difficult to see in this one. It's usually like this would be the top of the egg when you see an egg in an egg box. It's not an exact, no, it's not a circle at all. It's an egg shape. And this is when p is greater than or equal to 2q. And it says if q is equal to 0, you get a circle. Why does that work? What happens if q is equal to 0? What would the equation be? Just AP. R equals AP, which is just a circle. So when you add on this q cos theta, it becomes this kind of like egg shape that's like that. And then there's a special case at the end, which is where you get an egg, but with like a dimple like pushed into the base of the egg. And this is when p is in between q and 2q. And with a cardioid here, although the curve will never be at the origin because r is greater than 0, and it will not be equal to 0. So this bit when it's the angle is pi is when it's as close as possible to the origin that we've got here. Again, it's more just looking at these shapes and trying to figure out how they would go. That in the textbook, they love trying to get you to plot these coordinates, and they end up giving you this coordinate, this coordinate, this coordinate, and this coordinate, and they expect you to realize that that is going to be a dimple. But why would that be a dimple and not like this kind of shape? So this is what kind of frustrates me about the textbook, is that they say to you, just plot some points and you'll be able to figure out what the shape is. It's not, it's just, yeah, how do you know it does that without having to put in lots and lots and lots of values? So that's the kind of thing that like frustrates me about this, that it doesn't feel like that obvious, which is why we want to be good at for our calculators. If you ever see something that looks like it's in this form, yes, we know it's going to be one of these, but you've got a graphics calculator. Plot it. Just type it into the graphics calculator. Know that there are a few different scenarios that you can have. Cardioid, egg, dimple. And later on, we'll prove the difference between why you get this egg and dimple shape and why it is to do with these different restrictions that we've got here. And that will be when we do differentiation with this as well. Okay, so let's just see if we can apply that to these next ones that I've got on the next page. So here, I've got, this is P and Q. It always goes in the alphabetical order. So this time I've got P is 5 and Q is 2. So it's an egg because 5 is greater than 2 times 2. So that is why this one here is an egg shape. And you can see a lot more about what I mean by the egg shape. You can see that the left-hand side has kind of been like squashed. It's got a lot more of like a base kind of shape. It's like a what, sorry? It looks like when people draw circles and can't make them smooth enough, right? We've got this kind of flat side over here. This time it's got a dimple, and that's because we've got that P is 3 and Q is 2, and remind us that if P is in between Q and 2Q, so that's in between 2 and 4, you get a dimple kind of shape that you've got there. I'm not sure how worth it is memorizing this fact. I'm thinking about making fact sheets for you guys. I don't know if I'm going to put this on because it just doesn't seem that useful when you've got a calculator that can draw it for you. Okay? Have I got any other ones to do with eggs and dimples?
Is it like a 1 marker to describe the shape of this?
I don't even think, I've never even seen it be a 1 marker. There's so many more interesting things to do with this, but you can't access those things unless you've really understood what polar graphs are going to look like. Okay, I'm going to just split this here.